All new trade targets board up now at dailyfaceoff.com. Frank, 10 new names on your board. One in the top 10 in Jason Robertson, who I know we've spent a lot of time this week on the rundown on this show talking about Robertson, but he's 7 on your board. As the week's gone on, has your feeling on Robertson changed? Are you willing to say like north of 50% chance he's getting traded now?
No, I think it's a coin flip. I think there's many different ways to skin a cat, and I think the Stars are trying to investigate all of those different options. If I'm the Stars, the first thing I'm trying to do is come up with a plan for the right side of my defense. Cody Ceci, pending UFA, Ilya Lyubushkin, not necessarily an ideal fit, and 2 more years left at 3.25. And then you've got Matt Dumba, who was a healthy scratch all playoffs long and either should be trade fodder or a buyout, either way. You've got $5 million to hand out to 5 different roster spots over the course of this summer to fill out your team. What do you do with Jamie Benn? Are you just shaking hands and saying goodbye to Matt Duchene? I think you try and exhaust or figure out all those options. It's obviously all coming together like a puzzle, but you do that before really managing or dealing with Robertson, because pieces like him are really hard to come by. If you can sort it all out and feel comfortable about your cap situation moving forward to the point where you say, okay, Robertson has 1 year left on his deal. We know that the cap is increasing for the 2 years beyond this next season, and we know what that number is. Are we willing to give Robertson a big chunk of that cap increase and be comfortable with that, knowing that this is a guy who has proven that he can hit 100 points and 40 plus goals, that can be a play driver for our team? So I'm not willing to say north of 50-50. I'd say it's a coin flip. I'd say it depends on what the interest level is like, what the Stars can get back. And then moving forward, what does the rest of the puzzle look like in Dallas?
I'd say we've been flipping through the top 30 here as you give that answer, Frank. I'm looking at number 29, the rights to Mitch Marner in Toronto. As the weeks have gone on following the Leafs season coming to an end, it's felt more and more like, hey, this thing is not, they're not getting remarried here. It's over. So the idea of trading Marner's rights, would that open up the 8th year for the team acquiring them?
It would, in a sign and trade. And look, this has been, as you might imagine, pretty frosty. I don't think either side at this exact moment in time wants to do the other a favor. And sometimes when you get divorced, it does get ugly at the table. But sometimes cooler heads prevail and the smart move is the right move. And in this case, it depends on how much it's worth to these parties involved to be able to make something like that happen. The benefit for Mitch Marner is really clear. You do a sign and trade. A, you get to jump the market. B, you pick your team ahead of time, you're done and settled. And C, you're able to get the 8th year to either maximize your earning potential or make it a little bit more palatable and comfortable for the team signing you so that maybe you can squeeze out a few extra bucks. And so the 8th year, I think, does matter for the player if you're signing at that magnitude for that long. It's an extra 12, 13, $14 million, whatever the number comes in at. For the Leafs, as much as you might not want to help that process along, if a team is willing to jump the market and it's in their best interest to try and suppress a little bit that AAV, maybe you could squeeze out a late second round pick or something like that if a team has an extra pick, to be able to just facilitate a transaction and have him sign on a piece of paper that someone else does all of the heavy lifting on. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying it's not out of the realm of possibility that something like this materializes over the next 19 days.
Which would, I guess, explain why it's number 29 on your board. Another unique one that's up right now is number 11, and the rights to Isaac Howard, the first-round pick from 2022. Is it safe to say that relationship is also frosty between the Bolts and Howard?
Yeah, it's also over. Isaac Howard is not going to be playing for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think we've come to that conclusion. The question is, where's he going and when do the Lightning get it done and what do they get in return? So I think there's been no shortage of interest in the Hobey Baker Award winner as the top player in college hockey. A very consistent and productive goal scorer, a guy that showed a clutch gene in his game at World Juniors, someone that I think is knocking on the door after his junior year of being a full-time NHL player. It's taken probably a little bit longer. I think Howard probably wanted the Bolts to come at him with a little bit more aggression in order to get him in their lineup and sign and make it happen. They just haven't seemed to be on the same page for a long time now. And the clock's ticking on the Lightning because they have until August 15th, 2026 to sign him, or else he becomes a total unrestricted free agent. If you go into this next regular season and you have him unsigned, well, then teams are looking at it going, why would I give you something? Because I could just wait until next August and get him for free. And he's going, I can then pick whoever I want to sign with, and I don't have to go where you trade me. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see develop. I'm kind of surprised that it's taken this long since the NCAA season has ended. They've had plenty of time to work on this file, but maybe they just haven't found something yet that they feel is commensurate value to the player.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.